I'm humming. Me, the man of the two of this couple. I'm not humming. I'm a police officer. Oh, it's Grandpa. We're brother and sister, and this is our Grandpa, who's also a police officer. Hello, grandchildren of mine. I didn't see you at first. I'm a police officer, and I need to be very alert when I'm on patrol in case there are any burglaries or Grand Theft Auto or any sort of wacky things like that. We are walking. It's me, Jessica. This is my voice. I know it well because I'm your grandfather, the officer. Tell us one of your stories. We have time for that. Tell us one of your stories. We want to hear that. Tell us one of your stories. That's a good idea. I'll do that. Did I ever tell you two the story of how I found love? How I met your grandmother? Did I ever tell you the story of how I met your grandmother? No. Yes, but we love that story. Tell us. Yes, tell us. Okay, I'll tell you. Once upon a time, in a long, far away place, there was me. But I was very different. And there was a woman, a beautiful woman, your grandmother. We lived on the same block, and we crossed each other. We walked the same path every day, and we would chat about things we saw and people we saw, interesting clouds that we saw. Sometimes I would lead. I would walk in front and she would talk and I would have to listen, like kind of with my ear cocked from behind. And other times she would lead, and I would stand in front. Just all the combinations, all the different combinations of walking you can imagine. And I enjoyed those walks. And part of me knows that your grandmother did too. Well, one day on those walks, your grandmother tripped. And she looked very injured. So I had to run and get help. And while I was gone, she told me later a man came upon her, and he had the grandkids. This guy had the world's worst intentions. I don't even want to say what he was going to do, but it's a good thing that I came back with help just in the nick of time. It's a good thing that I came back with help just in the nick of time. Oh boy. Thank you, officer. You're welcome, young lady. Thank you, officer. I just tripped, but I'm feeling better. Grandpa, are you doing dialogue now? Yes, and I'm doing the voices of the characters. Don't do that. Okay. The police officer left, and it turned out your grandmother was okay. So I helped her to her feet, and for a brief moment, her hand slipped, and I overcompensated, and our lips touched. And at that moment, I went down on one knee, and I proposed to your grandmother. And she said no, but the story of her saying yes eventually is also is a wonderful story in itself. And maybe someday I'll tell you that story. But that's the end of the story of how I met your grandmother. That's true. It's all true. That's a beautiful story, Grandpa. Yes, thank you for telling that, Grandpa, but I have one question. Oh, what's that, Jessica, my dearest granddaughter? What's the question? What did she trip over? A dog. It was a dog. I left it out. It wasn't really pertinent to the story. Asked and answered. Thanks, Grandpa. Me and my sister, Jessica, are gonna continue our walk on our way to the mailbox. Oh, well, don't let me stop you. I was on my way to about 50 feet to the left of that tree. Oh, well, don't let us stop you. Goodbye. Goodbye. All right, now let's go home. Good idea.